People always tell stories about hearing things go bump in the night or whatnot. They attribute sounds like this to settling of the house and other plausible explanations. Believe me or not, I don't really care. I just want to share my story. About 3 years ago, I was the caretaker of an old castle. Basically, all this means was I make sure the place doesn't fall apart and people don't go inside and get themselves hurt. The place was owned by an older man who was in charge of many businesses and whatnot. The place was pretty much bare bones at this point, and all I had to do was watch it. One night, however, I was doing my rounds, and I found that a few trespassers had entered. Normally, I don't call the police unless they refuse to leave. Only had to do that once because the guy was on drugs. So I barked in my most intimidating voice and shined my torch to try and get them to run away, which they did. There was nothing to steal or anything valuable about this place. After I had chased them away, I continued my sweep of the place. I walked down the crumbling stairway and walked through the halls, just quickly checking all the rooms. I looked down at my watch and I saw that it was almost midnight. I had promised myself I would get to bed earlier because I hadn't been sleeping well the past few nights. But as I walked in the hallway with only the sound being my ticking watch echoing off the stone, I heard something. A faint scratching noise. Must be the rats, I thought, and continued on. The owner barely gave me enough money to replace a stone or two, let alone solve a rat problem. That's when I heard it. A pain-filled groan quietly filled the silence. I froze. The scratching continued as the voice, barely audible, asked weakly, "Water?" I shined my light all around me. Maybe I had missed one of those good-for-nothing kids, but the voice didn't sound like a child. I called out, stating my name and that I owned this place. It sounded better than caretaker. I yelled, "Leave immediately, and I will not get the authorities involved." After a few moments, I came to my senses and sighed. I had been watching some more horror films than usual lately, and it was just in my head. I started to walk down the hallway. "Don't recognize ye. Can't leave." A chill ran up my spine. I did get out of there, and I called the police. They searched with me and found nothing. Later that year, the owner invited some archaeologists into the castle, and one of them noticed a pattern that was out of place in the hallway that the sounds came from. Carefully removing the stone from the loosened part of the wall, they discovered a skeleton still shackled to the wall. According to them, the former owner of the castle went missing in the late 1600s when peasants revolted in the town. His body was never found, but people always thought that he had fled or was beheaded in the revolt. I guess that we know what happened to him now.